So throughout my healing journey, different things have served me. So like I said a little bit ago, I never sought help and I never talked about what happened to me. They were just secrets I kept. And so the things I did to work through some of those emotions early on were poetry. For example, I was drawn to poetry. I was artistic, so I would draw and paint. But I've always really turned to exercise, and particularly being out in nature and walking. So, even at 12, 13, I started walking miles and miles every day. I would walk 8, 10 miles every single day. And if I wasn't walking, I was riding my bike, and I would ride 12, 14, or more miles every day. And a lot of these times I wasn't actually, like, when I was walking and in my bike, I wasn't actually like thinking. I never really thought about what I went through, but it was allowing me to get out any kind of like pent up, like, physical stresses, ways that my emotional pain was manifesting in my body. It allowed me some of the ability to get it out. And, I also played sports. So I played soccer and basketball, and I just was active. So I've always really turned to that. And even later on in life, I turned to hiking and yoga. And so being physical really always helped me. And now, I'm going to get to a later part of my journey, but tie it in here is that I spent 12 years in college and spent 12 years also teaching on the college level. And most of that time I was learning and teaching about the human body. And what's really interesting is now that I understand about how the human body works. I understand why, even without knowing what I was doing, I understand why I was being called to physical activity. Like when we experience stress, and particularly traumatic stress that involves an excessive amount of stress hormones stress chemicals like norepinephrine to be released. There needs to be a way to be able to balance out those chemicals. And when you engage in physical activity, it releases a whole host of chemicals that can counteract the effects of some of those ones that are released from the stress response. So you can get the serotonin and the dopamine and different chemicals. So without realizing it, my body was calling me to do something that would naturally be like an antidepressant and an anti-anxiety kind of release. And so that's why even today when I'm feeling really overwhelmed and need to just get, stressful energy out, I move. I literally will go out and I'll walk, or I'll get up and dance. I just physically move. And it served me throughout my entire healing journey, even through today.
Right. No, that makes perfect sense. So you get out of, you go to 12 years. Why 12 years? Was you just want to take more classes? Did you have challenges learning? Or, I would be like that, myself, I'm more of a self-taught. So why 12 years?
Because I changed my path. So,
a couple times, I guess.
Oh, well, yes, I guess we would say. So all of my years of trauma early on built this belief in me that I was no good. And also early traumas, some of these men made me feel like I wasn't smart, and that just nothing about me was good. And so one thing that I did to combat that is I became an overfunctioner. And I aimed to excel at just everything I did. And I set very high goals I've always set very high goals for myself. And, but early on, when I first entered college, I was just convinced that I was supposed to be a chiropractor, and nobody could tell me any different. So I started my bachelor's degree in a pre-chiropractic program. And then I found out that I could start chiropractic college, a doctorate program, without actually finishing my bachelor's degree. I could just finish my prerequisite courses and then go right into my doctorate. And I was like, oh yes, of course I'm going to be a chiropractor, so I'm just going to go do this. So I changed around schools to go to another one that will allow me to finish really quickly. And I was able to start my doctoral program very quickly. And I spent 2 years in this chiropractic program taking 90 credits a year. It was really intense. And